Welcome back. The Christmas holiday has ended and markets across the world have reopened. At intraday, the Nigerian market was down 0.84%. And has that changed at this time? Let's talk to Temple, who is on the trading floor. Hello, Temple. Good afternoon. So is the gains recorded on Christmas Eve being eroded today after the holiday? And what's new today?
Well, it looks like things are still in red as we speak, but we know it was higher earlier. The losses were higher as 1%. However, it streamed down now to about thereabouts. We don't know what will happen in the next few minutes before trading, just like we saw last week. On Monday when it was really rising, and all of a sudden we saw the surge by some 3.88%. So that trend may still resurface in the market. However, right now there are a bit of losses. We've seen sell pressure on a couple of names in the market. But then what's fresh in the market is the fact that Notori Chemicals, one of the companies that got listed by introduction, some 1.6 billion units of its shares in the market in August, released its financial report, audited financial for the period ended September the 30th, 2018, a few minutes ago, came in with some huge losses, 2 billion naira in terms of loss before loss after tax compared to 8 billion naira in the preceding year. We know that this is a company that is involved in fertilizer production and is looking to up its game in this market, owing to the fact that here locally we don't really have so much consumption of NPK fertilizers generally. Its consumption rate in Nigeria is between 8 to 10 kilograms compared to 100 kilograms in the likes of Pakistan and co. So the company is doing a whole lot of expansion, and it's looking to start getting some kind of 50 billion naira post the completion of its turnaround maintenance by September 2019. That's next year. But what we know right now is that these whole inputs that the company has been carrying out with all of the fund that it took from a development financial institution some time ago is basically going into areas of investment. We don't see investors, anticipating any form of returns right now. That's what is new in the market, Chimezie.
All right, thank you, Temple. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best at the close of trading today. Okay, let's take a look at initiatives that helped Africa tackle its environmental issues in 2018. From wildlife protection programs to clean energy solutions, various African countries found ways to safeguard their natural resources in 2018 and bring about developmental change in the process.
In Madagascar, conservationists and communities came together to find ways to save lemurs this year, an approach that could also be emulated in other parts of Africa. The animals indigenous to the island are under threat from logging and bushmeat trade, which could wipe out the primates and their natural habitat. Madagascar is home to about 5% of the planet's plant and animal species, of which 80% are endemic to the country, attracting tourists who contribute $390 million a year tourism industry. To protect the primates and Madagascar's tourism, communities are being encouraged to play a more active role in protecting the country's biodiversity.
All lemurs live in the forest. Less than 10% of the original forest are left in Madagascar. That means that within the next 30 years, if the speed of the current deforestation remains the same, there is no forest left in this country. So that means there is no lemurs left in Madagascar.
In Ghana, a local entrepreneur found a homegrown solution to deal with the waste that litters the country's capital, Accra. Nelson Boateng recycles used plastics and turns it into paving blocks used for sidewalks and roads. The technology provides a cheaper alternative to other blocks on the market and is also expected to be more durable.
Currently, we are doing about 700 plastic waste now. All kinds of plastic, we run from the gutter and everything. So we are seeing in future, we can be doing 10,000, 20,000 in a day to save the environment.
Down in South Africa, students tested the limits of solar power in a road race from Pretoria to Cape Town using cars powered by the sun. Teams from various colleges and universities from across the world covered distances between 2,500 and 5,000 kilometers through 18 towns over 8 days. The competition sought to highlight efforts being made by countries to inspire green technology at home.
Solar cars, it's something that looks futuristic, so who wouldn't want to be part of a team that's dealing with something that would sort of solve a problem such as fuel in future? Because we would want to see us having solar cars just so that you drive to wherever you want to drive to without having to spend money for fuel.
In Ethiopia, authorities announced plans to build the first waste-to-energy plant aimed at tackling a growing waste burden in the city and boost power supply in the country. The waste to be sourced at the 50-year-old dump site in Addis Ababa's main landfill, which is also a lifeline for the residents who find value among the garbage by scavenging for recyclable waste. But for those who eke out a living at the landfill by scavenging recyclables and other items to sell, the landfill was their only source of income.
This
is very worrying. I will be forced to sit idle at home if the dump site closes. I will have to look for work as a maid in somebody's house. If I can't find work, I become another jobless person. Buoyed by success in East Africa, off-grid solar power startups are pouring into West Africa, offering pay-as-you-go kits in a race to claim hundreds of millions of customers who lack reliable access to electricity. In Ivory Coast, those living in areas with no access to the country's power grid were able to access electricity thanks to the Lumos Global Kits. According to the International Energy Agency, some 1.2 billion people around the world have no access to a power grid. While governments in much of the developing world are extending access to national networks, Africa is lagging, with less than 40% of African households connected.
And with that, we draw the curtain on today's edition of the program. Thank you very much for being part of it. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwabu.